Welcome to today's tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to be creating a simple product poster. So without further delay, let us go into this tutorial. Of course, the first thing we have to do is to create our canvas layout. And for this one, I'm going to use 1080 by 1350. I'm going to set my resolution to 100. I'm going to be an artboard, so click on create. Right, within our Photoshop environment, the first thing I always like to do is to unlock my layer, which I'm going to do quite immediately. So by clicking this padlock option, yes, we have it unlocked. The next thing I always do is to create my guides. So come to view, click on guides, click on new guide layouts. So for this, I'll just set my margin to be 80 pixels by 80 pixels by 80 pixels by 80 pixels, and I'm going to click on OK. Another thing I want to do is to lock my guides. So I will just click on view, guides, lock guides, and shortcut for that you can also see it right there. So click on that. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to add my background. For this particular product poster, I want the background to be black. So I'm going to come to my option right here, click the option and click on solid color. Right, so I'm going to set the color to black. I don't want it to be fully black though, so I'm just going to set it to let me just make it fully black. So I make it black and click on OK to achieve that. The next thing I want to do is to add the logo. So this is for an imaginary product. I have decided to use Xiaomi as the brand for the logo. So I'm going to go into my finder and bring the image right into Photoshop right here on a new window. So right here, I want to copy just the logo, right? So what I'm going to do is to exclude this white background, right? I'm going to exclude this white background. And how do I do that? So I'm going to use the quick selection um, um, button right here. So I'm going to use this magic wand button. This particular one is what I'm going to use. So if you can't find it in yours, you can just right click, then you see the list. So select magic wand tool. So just click on the white background, right? Okay, before I do that, let me duplicate it. I want to duplicate the background layer first before I do that. I always like to duplicate background so that in case I'm performing a destructive process, I will still have my original image intact. So I'm going to duplicate it by pressing Command J. So that's Command J. So then I will hide this one, the background layer. So let me go back to my one. So just click on the white area. On clicking on the white area, you can see that it has fully selected everything, right? So having selected it, I'll just click on my um, mask button right here. So click on that. So you can see that what it has done essentially is to mask the object itself. What I want is an inverse of the mask. So on the mask itself, I'm going to press Command I or Control I if you're on Windows. Press that and we have it. So here's the logo. But for this logo, this part of this logo is supposed to be white. But we can see that it's currently not white. Why? Because the reason for that is because this contiguous option on my Photoshop was not checked. So what contiguous does is that it only marks the boundary, right? But in this particular case, I also wanted to remove the white in the A and also in the O. So that's why I decided to leave it unchecked. But this particular one, I want to retain the white. So because what I've done is to create a mask, I can restore this white. That's why I said working with mask is also better. Imagine what I did was to delete it. That means I have to create it back. But because what I did was to create a mask, I can easily get it back. And don't forget, I mentioned that when you are dealing with masks, anywhere that is black is the invisible part. Anywhere that is white is what is visible. So all I have to do to restore what I had here before now is just to um make just put white on this part of the mask and it would achieve it for me. So it's a very simple process. I'm going to use the marquee tool. So I will just draw the marquee over the part I want to restore, which is just this part. So having drawn the marquee over it, I'll just come. So make sure that your layer, your layer mask is deselected, not the layer itself. The mask is selected. So having drawn over it, just right click and click on fill, right? So I want to fill it with white because like I said, white will reveal why black hides. So I'm going to fill it with white. and click on OK. Right? Can you see that white has been restored? So you can press Command D or Control D if you're on Windows to deselect. So having done that, the next thing I'm just going to do, first let me go back to my move to, then I'll come to this layer, right click on it, convert it to a smart object. Convert it to a smart object. So right click, then click on convert to smart object. So having converted this smart object, I'm going to just click and drag it into my workspace right here, to my workspace right here. So you can see that it's quite big, so I want to reduce the size. Before I do that, let me save it. Control S or Command S to save. So Control S to save, then you just save your work on your computer. So I'm going to save it as on desktop. I'm going to save it on my desktop. I'm going to save it as sample product. Or let me just call it product tutorial. Products tutorial. Make sure it's set to Photoshop, then click on save. So I have it right there. So the next thing I want to do is to transform this particular area, make it small and take it to the edge of my margin. So Control T to enter our free transform option. I'm going to, because I can't see the anchor point, well, anyways, I can actually reduce it from right here to reduce it. But then I can come to the edge also to reduce it like that. And that way you can also reduce the size of your objects in Photoshop using this. You can see that if you scale it up, move it, if you are moving it back, if you move it back, it reduces. If you move it up, it increases. So that's one way to also transform objects when you are in the free transform option. So I'm going to just move it to the margin like this, then I'm going to just reduce it even more right here. So I'm happy with how it looks. Oh, okay, I think it's too small. I just want to make it a bit bigger. Control C or Command C if you're on Mac. So just scale it up a little bit like this. So I'm going to press the enter button to accept the change. So the next thing I'm going to do after here now is to this color is not really, because of contrast, it's not really working well on the background. So I want to change it to white, right? So I can do that by going straight into my, that's why working with smart objects is also very good. So because I have it as a smart object, I can easily go into that smart object itself and make some changes and save it, and it saves. And it's that change occurs on my actual project. So I'm going to go into the smart object by double clicking this thumbnail. This is the layer thumbnail right here. I'm just going to double click on it. It will open it up. So after opening it up, I'm just going to duplicate this one. So I'm just going to select it using my marquee tool to select it like this. Then press Control. Don't forget that I'm on my layer, not on my mask, on my layer. And just press Control J. Or if you're on Mac, that will be Command J. So this mask that I have here, I want this mask to also take effect, because you can see that white background that we removed before has been restored. I want the background to be restored. So I want the background to be removed. So I can easily, this is how I have a mask before. I can easily duplicate that mask. So I can just duplicate that mask, copy the mask from here to this layer so that it also take effect on it. So in order to do that, just make sure you come to the mask right here, put your cursor on the mask right here, then select Alt. If you're on Windows, that will be Alt. If you're on Mac, that will be Option key. Hold this down. Once you hold it down, click on the mask and drag it to the next place you want to take, or to the layer. So what I did was what? Hold down your Alt key, hold down Alt. That's on Windows. If you're on Mac, that will be Option key. Hold it down, then click and drag to the layer you want to take it to, so it takes it first. So what I want to do now is to change this Xiaomi to white. So I'm going to do that by coming on my layers, just the layer thumbnail right here, where we have the name. No, don't double click on the name, because if you try to double click on the name, what you are going to do is to edit the layer name, and that's not what we want to do. So just come to a free part of the layer, any free part of the layer, double click on it. Once you so can you see what I'm talking about? Because it was too close to the name, that's why it tried to highlight the name. So, but take it away from the name, just double click on any part. It will open this layer style dialog box for you. So what I'm interested in is to come to color overlay. So click on this color overlay, make sure it is checked. Then all you have to do is to change your color here to white. So because I already had white there, so that's why it's, so if you're not white, just click on this right there and drag it, your color picker, to white, and click on OK, and click on OK. So once you have it like this, you are happy with it, just press Ctrl S. If you're on Mac, that will be Command S. So once it saves fully, you can close it. Once it saves fully, you can close it, and you see that on our main project file, we have it already as white. So that is what we want to do. So that's the first thing. We have placed our logo. The next thing I want to do is to bring in the product. So I have the product right here on my computer. So I'm going to, just like how I did for the logo, let me close this because I don't need this layer. I don't need this project file anymore. I'm done with it. Let me close it. So I don't need to save it. I don't need to save it at all. So don't save. So that's that. Guys, always remember to press Command S or Control S to save your file when you're working, in case you experience a crash or anything. Able to recover. So what I want to do next is to drag my open my products in Photoshop. So let me open it in Photoshop on a new document, just like I did with the logo. You can see that this also comes with a black background. And what I want this time around is the products, not the background. I don't want it with the background. So I want to remove this black background from it, just like I did before. Command J or Control J to duplicate the layer so that I have the original image intact, so I can hide this. Just the same process. I'm just going to select. So the reason why this process is able to easily select our or remove our background from our product is because we have a single color for our background. For instance, for the logo, we had just white background, so it was easy to remove. For this particular one, we have a black background. So that's why it's very easy for us. There are other methods of remove background, which we are going to touch on later in the course of this training. So, but for this one, we can easily use our magic wand. So just select the black background. Can you see? It's fully selected. But you will realize that just like before, I can see that this part of the head of the earpods have been selected, which I don't want that part to be selected, right? So it's because of that contiguous option that has not been selected before. So what I'm going to do now is to deselect, Control D or Command D on Mac to deselect. So then now I'm going to click on this contiguous, make sure that it is clicked. Then I click on it now. Now you see that all those parts that were selected before are no longer selected. So we have it right there. So once you are cool with that, just click on your mask. Just like before, you can see that it will remove the product instead of remove the image. Now let me show you something else. Like before, you can just press Command I on your layer mask and it would inverse it, right? But I don't want to use that method right now. Let me just press Ctrl Z to go back to how it was before. So right here. So now that we have it like this, what we want to mask is the I want to remove the background and retain the product, right? And I know that if I click on this layer, sorry. So if I click on this layer mask option, it's going to hide my product. So what I can do is just to hold down Alt. That's if you're on Windows. If you're on Mac, you hold down Option before you click on the max button. So by so doing, you see that what it gives you is just a product and it does not remove the uh, background. So I'm happy with how it looks. What I'm going to do next now is to right click and click on convert to smart object, just like I did before. So convert it to smart object. So it's this particular smart object. Then let me change it back to my move to. So it's this particular smart object I'm going to put into my project, right? So without any background, right? So this is how it looks. So as you can see that I generated the product on ChatGPT. So like I said, it's an imaginary product. It's not a real product. So it's an imaginary product. So that's for that, right? So yeah, I'm happy with how the product looks. So the next thing I'm going to do is to reduce the size of. I don't need this product anymore, so I can close it. Yeah, don't save. So what I want to do next is to make it smaller. So Control T or Command T if you're on Mac. So just reduce it a little bit like this. I want it to be very reduced. So I'm going to click on Enter. So I'm happy with how it looks, but for now I want to hide it, right? And next thing I want to do is that I want to put like, because I want there to be like something like a base where I can place my product on top. So I'm going to do that now. So for this particular base, I'm going to use the brush tool. But before I do that, okay, yeah, I'm going to use the brush tool. So I'm going to create a new layer right here. Use this button to create a new layer. So click on it. You can see that a new layer has been created. Now, having created this new layer, the next thing I want to do is to activate my brush tool. B, you can use B on your keyboard to activate your brush tool, or just come here and click on the brush tool, right? So having activated my brush tool, I want to make sure that my brush tool is the soft round brush right here. So I want to use the soft round brush. Another thing I want is that I want my flow. I see my flow is currently on 11, so I want my flow to be on 100 for the action I want to perform. Another thing I also want to do is that the color, because if I click now, it's going to let me just do that. Can you see the color? Can you see? So it takes the foreground color. So, and this is not the color I want to use for what I want to do. So I'm going to press Command Z on my computer. If you're on Windows, that would be Control Z to undo. So the color I want to use, I want to sample it from this logo. So I'm going to hold down my eye will help me activate the color picker. That's the eyedropper tool, which is the color picker, right? So I'll just click on it. I'm holding down my eye, just click. You can see that on clicking, it selects it changes my foreground color to the color I've selected. So that's the color I want to use. So I'm going to just click on that. I'll click on that here, right? Can you see the color right now? Yes, that's the color. So what I'm going to do now is to reduce. Okay, I think it's too big, right? Control Z again. So I want to reduce the size of my brush. I think it's currently too big. So in order to reduce my size of my brush, I can easily use the square brackets to reduce it. So I just want to reduce it a bit. So I've reduced it a bit. So I'm just going to, okay, let me increase this one more space. Yes. So I'm just going to click once. Yeah, click once. Now I'm happy with this how it looks. So I'm going to reduce it a bit again. I want to change the color to something uh something closer to white, right? So I'm going to use this color, right? You can see that I'm still on the same layer. I'm still on the same layer right here. So I've reduced my brush a bit. So I'm just going to click also in the middle one more time, right? Then I'm still going to make it whiter again. Let me just make it very close to white now. Okay. I will come back to my brush too. I'm going to still reduce it a bit more. Let me here and then click. Right. So this is what it looks like. So this particular layer that I've created, let me go back to my move tool. Just I'm holding down my Alt and Shift now. I'm holding down so that it looks like a straight line. Yeah, it's going to look like something like this right here. Right. It's going to look like this. So having let me yes. Right. So having done that, you can press your Command C again. Then you now come to wow right here. Then custom. Then click on this hack. Right. So yeah, this is well, I don't want it to be this much hack. So I'm just going to reduce a bit by this. Right. Right. Then press Control T to just increase it because yes. So you can I want to bring it down to somewhere around here. So I think it's not big enough. So I'm going to hold down my shift right here just to, scale it up to look a bit like this. And also push it up. Sorry. Push it up like this. Right. So, yes, this is what I want it to look like. And one thing I also want to do is I want to add like a bit of glow to it. I want it to like look as if it's glowing. So one way I can achieve that is to press Command J or Control J right here. This particular one on the background under it, I'm going to right click on it. Let me convert it to a smart object. Then I'm going to come to my filter. I'm going to come to blur. I'm going to come to Gaussian blur, right? So I'm just going to blur it out. I'm going to blur it out. So yes, can you see? Yeah, I'm sure you might not be able to see it very well, but you see how it turns out at the end of the day. So I've blurred it to, let me just set the blur to a 10. So now this blur layer, I'm going to now duplicate it. Yeah, you can see it, right? But another method we can actually use is to, that same blur layer, let me delete it. That same blur layer, you can just double click on it to go into the layer star. Can come to outer glow right here. Click on outer glow, yes, and add the outer glow to it. So I want to select the color I want. I want this orange right there, but yeah, just a lighter version of the orange right there. Okay. The opacity, I want the opacity to be full. I want the spread to increase a bit. No, it's too much. The spread is much. Just the size. I want the size to increase. Yes, to have something like this. So this is how I want it to look. Right. You can just increase it to your satisfaction. Right. So this is how I want it to look for now. For now, because we are still going to do more work on it. So and click on OK. Right. Having click on OK, we can just put these two into a group. So the next thing I'm going to do, let me bring back my products now. Right. So let me just bring down my products. Oh, sorry, I'm going to wrong layer. I'm supposed to move, but I'm going to move the two down a bit. Select the two together like this. Move it down a little bit. I'm holding down my shift so that I can move on a straight line. Release it when it has fully moved down. Okay. So like this, right? So I'm going to now move the product alone down. So select the products, move it down, just like this. So you can see that it's showing is because it is the layer is below the. So I'm just going to move it up, right? So it's above it like this. So the next thing I want to do very quickly is to, so I think it's too small. So I'm going to increase the product a bit more than it is currently. So I'm just going to Control T and scale it up like this. So we are still going to do more work on this, but for now, let's just leave it like this. So next thing I'm going to do is to add some of the text that I have. I have written down the text somewhere, so I'm just going to be pasting them. But for before I do that, it's assumed that this product name is called N3. So I'm going to just type N3. So T. So go to my text tool, click on the click, then type out N3. So the font I want to use is Montserrat. So I'm going to go change the font right here to Montserrat. I have Montserrat right here. So select Montserrat and I want it to be bold. On zero. Let me put it back on zero. And I want the color to be the Xiaomi color that I have selected before, which is this, right? So the next thing I'm going to do now is to make this text very, very big because that is like assumed to be. But before I do that, let me be sure that it is centered aligned. I want it to be a center aligned text, not left aligned or right aligned or no other alignment. So yes, you can see that it's currently center aligned. So I'm going to increase the size, change it back to my move tool, right? So Control T or Command T to increase. So just increase the size very well. and it's going to take like most of the page because I want it to be very big. I want to be a very big test. So having done that, I'm going to press command. Let me press command A to select so that because I want to align it to the center. So command A. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to this middle, select it, right? Then Control D to deselect. So next thing I'm going to do is to move this particular text now behind the product. So I'm going to move it behind the product, just move it down like this, right? Let's move it down like this. So next thing I'm going to do now, because it has to be behind the product, so I have to move the product above it. So I'm just going to move the product above it like this. So yeah, that's how it looks like. That's what it looks like right now. It's coming together. It's coming together already. So the next thing I want to do is that I want there to be like a gradient effect along the down part of this. Sorry, I'm not meant to move the product. I wanted to move the text. So select it. So I wanted to move that a bit more. So what I want to do next is to I want to do next now. Let me move it a bit more. It's like a little bit of gradient feel to the lower part of the letter right here. So the process I'm going to use is very simple. First and foremost, it's a beginner process. It's a very simple process. First and foremost, I'll create a new layer. Now, this new layer that I've created, I'll make sure that it is clipped into my text layer, the text that I'm working with, right? I'll clip into the text layer. Then next thing I'm going to do is to select the brush tool B to select brush tool. So just come to the toolbox and select brush tool. I'm going to increase it a little bit, but this time around I'm going to reduce the flow to a 10 because I want it to 11. Let me reduce the flow to 11. I want it to just be faint, right? And it is important that your color is set to black, right? Color is set to black. So come to your color picker, your foreground color, change it to black. Okay. Next thing is to this normal. It's also very important. Change it to overlay because it's going to be like a gradient fill on it. So I'm just going to just that down part. I'm just going to paint slightly, just paint slightly like this. Then you see the shadow kind of forming by painting. Can you see? Can you see? Can you see that shadow? Yes, that's what I'm looking to achieve. But it's currently very thick, so I'm going to reduce the opacity. I'm going to reduce the opacity to um, let me try 65 and see how it looks. Yeah, I think 65 is fine. So that same process, I'm going to use it to add highlights, to make this top part a bit brighter, shinier. So same process, I'm going to create a new layer. Then that new layer, I'm going to clip it into the just like I clipped that one. So I'm going to clip it right there. Then, but the difference now is that I'm going to change the color now to white because I want it to be bright, right? So change the color to white. Don't forget that your blending mode for that layer has to also be overlay, right? So press on P. So just paint over the top part also. Can you see? Can you see? Yes. So that's what I'm looking to achieve. So the next thing I'm going to do afterwards is I think this whole thing I'm going to put in a group so that I can move everything. In case I want to do anything, I can move it together and what have you. So I'm going to make it in a group. I'm going to use my move to just move it up a bit because I feel it's too close to down. So I'm going to move it up a bit. Then another thing I want to quickly do is that this thing right here, right, where we have the full, I don't want it to show the full letters under it. So I'm just going to add a little bit of faded gradient effect to it so that to look as if it faded from down then comes to the letter. So on this particular group right here, I'm going to, in fact, before I continue, I want to convert this group into a smart object, this particular group, which is the letter group, right? Yes, I'm going to convert it to into a smart object. So I'm going to right click and convert to smart object. It's very good to work with smart object. Just like if I need to edit anything in this group now, it's just a matter of going to the smart object document and editing it, right? So this smart object now, I'm going to create a mask, right? I've created a mask. Now I'm going to use gradients, right? Don't forget, because we're working with masks, it has to be from white to black. So I'm just going to make sure that under my gradient basic, I will make sure that I'm working with black to white, right? So on my layer mask, make sure that you have your layer mask selected. I'm just going to draw over it like this. Can you see? Can you see that it's fading it up? Yes. So I'm just going to release it right here. This is my gradient anchor point. I'm going to move it. Just going to move it to this. Yes, something like this, right? Is what I'm looking to achieve. So it's okay. So you can also use your gradient action, these things to adjust it to your suiting. So for me, I think I'm okay with something like this, right? It's looking good. It's looking good. So I'm going to change back to my move to. So don't forget that I did that action on the mask. One thing I want to do before I continue is that I want to add like something like a glow effect to just round the text like this. So I'm going to show you a simple process to add that kind of effect to it. So you can just command J to duplicate that mask that we have right here, right? We have that mask right there. First thing I want to do is that I want to remove, for this mask that we have right here, I want to remove this gradient. I don't need it. You see why now? I don't need this one. So next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to come to, first I'm going to make it blur. So blurry. So I will just come to filter. Then I'll come to this, my blur right here. What I want to do for this blur is let me try radial blur. Let me see what it does. It's not radial blur I want to do itself, but I just want to see what it's going to do for me. See. Yeah. Sorry, I've done that on the wrong layer. I've done that. I'm supposed to do it on this layer right here. So on this layer right there, come to filter, come to blur. Blur. I'm going to use a radial blur for this. Radial blur. So I'm going to use a zoom blur. I'm going to increase it to about 65. Then I'm going to click on OK. Can you see the blur? Can you see the blur? Right. So that is one thing I want to achieve. Another thing I want to achieve is also on same layer. I want to come to my filter, blur. I'm going to come to motion blur also. Motion blur. For the motion blur, I want it to be 90, 90, not 0. It needs to be 90. Right? So it's meant to be like this. So when you're happy with how it looks, you can just click on OK. Right? And the next thing I want to do now is to That's why working with smart object is very good, because I can still go back to my radial blur now and increase the blur amount. I can take it to 100 and click on OK, right? So I'm happy with how it looks right now. I'm happy with how it looks right now. So the next thing I want to quickly do before I continue is to um next thing I want to do now is to add something like a reflection of this product. So I still think the product is too big, so I'm going to reduce it. Then add like a reflection of this product to the layout. So this is how it's going to. This is the process of doing that. So first and foremost, I'm going to, like I said, I want to reduce it because I think it's currently too big. So reduce it a bit, just a little bit like this. Yes, right. I'm going to move it down a bit more, right? Next I'm going to do right here is to duplicate that same product. I'm going to duplicate it. Let me be sure that it's in the center first before I continue. Control A and centralize. Control V, Control S to save. So what I'm going to do now is to duplicate is Control J, then Control T to transform. Right click, and what I want to do now is to rotate it 180 degrees, so it will be upside down. You see? So enter. Now this upside down one, I'm going to bring it down. So use your move to bring it down. I'm holding my shift so that it moves on a straight line. So bring it down like this, right? Just under it like this. Now with it like this. So what I'm going to do for this now is that first I'm going to, don't forget it's save smart object. So I'm going to first reduce it to maybe a 50% or 50%. Let me try 50% to see how it looks. So 50%. Okay, let me try 65%. Right? Now the next thing I'm going to do next to this is to change the, yeah, I'm going to add a blur to it rather. Come to filter, Gaussian blur, so that it look as if, it's kind of out of focus, but 10 is too much. Just a little blur. Just a little blur. Yes, just a little blur. Like this. So let me just set it to, let me set 2.5 blur. Right? So I think 50% is too, and 65% is too low. I'm going to increase it to say 85%. Right? So the next thing I'm going to do there now is to um, create a mask on it. I'm going to create a mask, and I'm going to, so just like how I did the gradients before to hide. So I'm just going to draw it over it too, like this. I hope you guys are following me. Just like this, like this. Okay. Yeah. So once I'm happy with it, sorry, okay. Once I'm happy with it, change it back to remove two. Alright, so for this one now, I can leave it like this. I can make it if 65%. So to sell the effect better, I can also do something like adjusting the perspective so that it look as if it is spreading out, right? So I can just, the perspective, I can just spread out a bit, just not too much, just a bit, right? You can then start to accept that. So I want to adjust the mask. Yes. Yeah. What I want to do next now is to add a bit of shadow to my gradient, to my product, to look as if, when it's sitting down, there will be a little bit of dark shadow that is casted up there. So what I'm going to do is to, first and foremost, you create a layer above, just like how we did for that number. Create a layer above it, mask that layer into your product. Then I will change the color because this one has to be black. So right, so I'll change the color to black right there. And I will just, I can also use a gradient for it, but this time around I'm going to use, instead of black to white, I'm going to use black to invisible, just like this, black to invisible. So just, it's going to be a linear gradient. So we just draw a little bit like this, not too much, just like this. I'm holding down my shift so that it would be on a straight line like this. Can move it a bit up, right? So yes, so this is a quick job, so I'm just trying to be fast so that we can move very fast. So we have it right there, right? The next thing we can also do is to add, to edit this product a bit, just to, bulb up the contrast, and just like we did. So for that one we can use camera raw filter. Just the click on that and come to filter, camera raw filter, right? So I just want to bump up the contrast, so that there will be more, the highlights to bump it up. No, the highlights is too much. So let me just drop the highlights, right? The white, so that it can sit well in the, so the shadows, I want to add more shadows to it. The blacks, increase the blacks, reduce the blacks, and and make it a bit more orangey in color by switching the white balance so it look more in color. Mixture, you can increase it a bit, your clarity, just to make it, and you can adjust that too and click on OK. So next thing I'm doing is to just try and fade out this a little bit. So I'll select the layer right here, make sure I'm on the mask. I'm just going to add a white. Like I always say, white allows us to add more details, right? So if I paint it over it now, you see that more details are being restored. While for your mask, black allows you to, hide details or remove details. So I'm going to just do that. Then my opacity is currently on 65. I think I want to increase it a little bit to say to 85% or thereabouts. And so I think I have this thing's too much. So I'm going to use my black to just, clean it out a little bit more, or like that, right? Right. So the next thing I want to do now is to, of course, add a little bit of shadow here. So I'm going to put the shadow, I'm going to put the shadow um just under this layer. We have the product layer right there, so I'm just going to create a new layer um like this. Then I'm going to activate my brush too. I'm going to increase the size a little bit. It's very important for us to have your brush properties panel right here. If you don't have your brush properties panel, all you just have to do is to click on this folder icon that has a brush icon. If you click on it, it brings up the brush property panel. So what I want to really tweak here is the roundness. So I'm going to set the roundness for this to 10. So put on 10 right here. Then you see that the roundness have increased. So I'm going to just increase the roundness a bit. I'm going to change my foreground color to black. And I'm going to just dab once, just click one. Okay. Before I do that, I want to increase my flow to 100% so that my black color can be very evident. So I'm just going to click once, and can you see that right there? So I have that over there. So I'm going to move it above. So I'm just going to reduce it a bit. I'm holding down my shift now so that it will form like a shadow right there. So like I said, you can also, this is the shadow right here. All right. So you can, if you feel it's too much, you can just clean the side a bit. So you can just add your mask, then change my brush too. But this time around, I want to increase the roundness. You can also increase the roundness right here. I want to increase the roundness back to 100%, reduce it a bit, then just, okay, it's currently on 100. So I'm going to turn it back to 11, the flow to 11, so that it will just clean it off a bit. So you just, just clean on the edges a little bit like this. So I'm going to also Control A or Command A if you're on Mac. I want to make sure that my my shadow layer is centralized. So let's going to put it right there. So having done that, the next thing I want to do now is to begin to add my text. Is begin to add my text to the design. So I have my text copied. So I'm just going to be copying and pasting it. So the first thing I want to add is the main title, which is in product name for this, which this imaginary product we are designing for, which is N3. So I'm going to put the N3 right above this place. So for this project, I'm going to use Montserrat. The color for my Montserrat should be white. Let me just change that to white right here. So put N3. So you can see that's currently central aligned. So I'm okay with that. I'll activate that. So I'm going to press Command T or Control T. Then I want to increase the size. So I think it's too much. Just reduce a bit. Then Command A or Control A. Then align to the center. So what I want to do also is to bring it down a little bit like this. So the next thing I want to put is the other text that I have available. So I'm just going to paste that right here. Right, I'll be right there. So I think this is meant to be medium for this, and 36 is too big. So let me just set that to a 12. Okay, 12 is too small. So let me try 22. Yeah, I think this is fine by me. So I'm just going to Control A, Command A, then centralize it. Then I'm going to move it a bit up like this. I'm going to change the color to the orange color I have right here by sampling it. So just click on OK. The next thing I'm going to do is to add the remaining text that I want to add. So I have this text I want to add right here. So let's select everything. Just going to paste it right here. Just paste it right there. So for this particular one, they are meant to be white and bold and right. So the next thing I want to really do, this is not supposed to be as big as it currently is. I'm going to select all these ones. I'm going to reduce the size from 29. Let me just reduce that to 24. No, not everything. Actually, I want to just select this one alone, right? So I'm going to set this to 24, right? I think I'm okay with how it looks, but I want to increase all the old text like that. So Control T, just increase this text like this. I'm going to bring it down like this. I think this is actually currently still very long. I'm going to reduce this to 18 like that. So I'm going to also bring this down like this. So the whole essence of this is just to teach you how to, work with texts in Photoshop, right? So the next thing I want to do now is to change the color of what we have here. So I'm going to change this color to the orange color that I want to use. So I'm going to select the orange right here. Also, so the final thing I want to add is the launch date for the product, because this is more like a product for people to anticipate, like the product is dropping soon. So so what I'm going to add now is the launch date for the product. So I'm just going to put the text right underneath and paste it right here. So um so I want to take all the text layer above every other layer. So I'm just going to drag it just above. So the text layer I've just added right here is currently black. That's why you can't see the color. So I'm going to make the color white like this. I want it to be medium. Then I'm going to increase the tracking to 200 or thereabout. Yeah, just for it to spread out like that. And this right here, I'm going to make the color also orange. Orange right here. So that is good. Next thing I want to do, let me just increase this to 18, right? And just Control A, make it centralized, then bring it down a little bit. Let me just use my arrow button to nudge it down. And finally, before I finish, so this 100% black, it's not supposed to be 100% black. I'm just going to increase this. Yeah, it's not meant to be 100% black. So I can just increase the blackness to something like this. And finally, what I'll just do to top it up is just to add my noise effect, which is, you know the process already. Control Shift N, then our mode should be set to overlay, and fill with neutral color. Make sure it's checked and click on OK. And the next thing we're going to do is come to filter, go to noise, go to add noise, and make sure it's on uniform. 100 is 10 is good for me. Monochromatic checked and okay. So I think 100 is too much. Let me just put it on a 50 and thereabouts, which is quite subtle enough for what I'm going for. And I think this brings us to the end of the training. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share with any beginner designer that you know who would like to learn the workings of Photoshop and using Photoshop for the first time, beginners tutorials of Photoshop. And if you have any questions, please do well to drop your questions in the comment section, and I will make sure to respond to them. Thank you very much, guys. Catch you in the next video. Bye.